Hello students. So students, today we will do endocrine system, the last chapter of human physiology, right? So what is endocrine system? Endocrine system controls and coordinates various processes of our body. So in class 10th also, in the last chapter also, you had studied that it is nervous system, isn't it? हमने पढ़ा था it is the nervous system which controls various processes in our body. For example, our muscles work only when we get signals from nervous system, from central nervous system. Digestion occurs only if our digestive system gets signals from the nervous system. We can see अगर हमारा brain damage हो जाए, if particular part of the brain gets damaged, even if there is no injury in the eyes, the person becomes blind. This is because it is the brain which controls our vision. It is the brain which controls the hearing process and all processes. Then what is the need of endocrine system? Right? First thing, there are millions of cells in our body. Right? One thing. Second thing, all cells show different metabolic activities, which require some control system. And what is the major problem? The major problem is neurons. We don't have so much neurons that neurons cannot innervate. Innervate means enter. Innervate each and every cell of our body. So if all the cells are not joined with the nervous system, are not joined with the central nervous system, how their metabolic activities they are controlled? So what is the major process? Therefore, our CNS is connected with, see here, our CNS, it is connected with some cells and tissues directly. We had discussed it earlier, but not only some cells, not all the cells, and it is also connected with endocrine glands. when the endocrine glands receive signals from CNS. Not always. Endocrine glands are not functional all the time. Remember that when the endocrine glands, they receive signals from CNS, they produce specific hormones. Excuse me. So one thing, endocrine glands are not functional all the time. Second thing, all the endocrine glands are not functional at the same time. Specific gland may function at one time and the other gland may function at another time. Right? So when they are activated by, yes, tell me, they are activated by CNS. When they receive signals from CNS, right? So they secrete what? They secrete specific hormones, and these hormones, they take messages to specific cells. I will tell you later on how the hormones, they reaches to the specific cells and control, or you can say regulate their functions. So in a way, what you are observing here, that hormones take the messages of central nervous system to the specific cells, because they act as couriers, isn't it? They act as couriers because CNS cannot directly reach to all the cells. Therefore, they are connected with some main glands, that are endocrine glands. They send, when required, they send signals to the specific endocrine gland, and this endocrine gland secretes specific hormone, that this hormone takes the message of which? They take the message of central nervous system to the specific cell, and specific cell then act accordingly. Is it clear? Right, students? Right? So there are two processes, there are, you can say, two systems in our body. Which are the two systems? Nervous system and endocrine system, which controls and coordinates all the activities, all the functions of our body. And the two controlling systems together forms a branch of science that is called as neuroendocrinology. Yes, repeat. Neuroendocrinology. Is it okay? So neural system you have studied in the last chapter. In this chapter we will study only, we will restrict ourselves to endocrine system. Right? Then we come to glands. What actually glands are? Glands are the structures which secrete certain chemicals. Glands are the structures which secrete certain chemicals. There are different types of glands. Which are the various types of glands? There are three basic types of glands. Exocrine glands, endocrine glands, and the third one are heterocrine glands. Exocrine glands, simply glands with ducts. One thing, first note down the differences, right? Endocrine glands. These are ductless glands. I will explain all these things later on, but first note down the differences. Heterocrine glands, glands having both exocrine part, means some part it has ducts and another part is ductless. Endocrine part. The exocrine glands, they secrete enzymes and sticky mucus. You know mucus. Sticky, watery mucus. Endocrine glands secrete hormones. Heterocrine glands, exocrine part, they secrete enzymes and endocrine part secrete hormones. Right? Note it down. So let's see which are the endocrine glands. Exocrine glands, for example, salivary glands in our mouth, gastric glands in stomach, intestinal glands in our intestine. Then there are sweat glands in skin. Then there are milk secreting mammary glands. See the spelling of mammary, it's not memory. याद रखने वाला नहीं, MEMORY, no. These are milk glands, mammary glands. All these are exocrine glands. Then, which are the endocrine glands? Hypothalamus in brain, then pituitary, pituitary gland, pineal gland. All the three are present in our brain. Then thyroid gland in our neck. Adjacent to thyroid, there are present parathyroid glands again in the neck. Thymus gland near heart in the chest cavity. Adrenal glands above the kidneys. Adrenal. Renal means kidneys. Ad means above. Above the kidneys. Then endocrine glands. Liver. Its exocrine part secretes bile. Endocrine part secretes hormones. I will tell you later. Pancreas. Exocrine part secrete digestive pancreatic juice. Endocrine part secretes hormones, and you know the pancreatic hormones very well, insulin, glucagon, etc. Here I am writing hormones only. Then heart. Exocrine part, you know, it helps in blood flow, whereas again endocrine part, it secretes hormones. Then gonads. Exocrine part, they form gametes, and endocrine part, they secrete sex hormones. So these are the various examples. Note it down in your notebooks. So okay students, now what we have studied, that mainly two type of glands are there. Heterocrine is the mixture of exo and endo, but the two main type of glands are exocrine glands, endocrine glands. Both secrete something. Let's see. You know, this is, I am not drawing cells, but you know, all these are cells, and this is the structure of skin. And here in the skin, there is present long coiled sweat gland. This sweat gland, it secretes sweat, and this is sweat gland, you know, this portion is glandular, and this is the duct which pore of duct which takes the sweat at the surface. So sweat gland is exocrine gland. Likewise, in our mouth, There, here, what is present? This is salivary gland. Salivary glands are present at many places, and these salivary glands, they open in the buccal cavity through duct of salivary gland. This is duct. Salivary gland secretes saliva, which is poured through duct in the, this is buccal cavity. So, like sweat gland, salivary glands are also exocrine in nature. Right? Students, draw this. Right, students? So here, now you know that how exocrine glands function. Exocrine glands, they secrete certain substances, they secrete watery fluid, they secrete enzymes, and they pour their secretions through ducts. Where they pour their secretions? Where these secretions are required. Isn't it? To the site of action of these secretions. Whereas endocrine glands, no ducts. They do not have ducts. So, how do they pour their secretions? They secrete hormones. For example, pituitary gland in brain. Pituitary gland is present in brain. Pituitary gland in brain secretes gonadotrophic hormones or gonad stimulating hormones. This gonad stimulating hormone, it acts on the gonads. In pelvic cavity. Pituitary gland is present in brain. Gonads are present in the pelvic cavity. What is pelvic cavity? Pelvic cavity is lower part of the abdominal cavity. Is it okay? Right? So from the brain, the gonad stimulating hormone has to reach up to the pelvic cavity. Gonads means ovaries in females and testes in males. Right? So how do we don't have ducts? Pituitary don't have duct. So how this hormone present in the brain reaches the gonads? This is through blood. So endocrine glands, what we say? Endocrine glands, these are ductless glands. They secrete hormones, and the hormones diffuses from endocrine gland into blood. And blood transports hormones to target sites. Target sites means where the hormones they act. Is it okay? So remember that we don't have large ducts. Therefore, in case of exocrine glands, the secretions of exocrine glands, they act at the nearby places. For example, salivary glands present in the mouth, and saliva acts in our mouth, in the cavity of the mouth. Right? So it doesn't mean that saliva is present secreted in the mouth and the duct, it goes up to stomach where the saliva acts. No, this is not possible. Exocrine glands have ducts, but they have small ducts. Therefore, secretions of exocrine glands, they act nearby. Is it okay? Whereas the endocrine glands, the secretions of endocrine glands are hormones. Hormones may be secreted at one part, may be secreted in brain, and acts at the far off side. Maybe in the gonads, maybe on the kidneys, maybe on the heart, it may be. Right? So, hormones, their site of secretion and site of action, they may be widely separated. Right? So, the hormone, it is transported from the site of secretion to the site of action through, yes, it is through blood. Is it okay? Right? Karo note. So, exocrine glands secrete enzymes, they secrete mucus, they secrete watery fluid and many other things. Ions also. But the main secretion we say, which is the main secretion of exocrine glands? Hormones. Exocrine glands, enzymes. Right? So, what are enzymes? And what are hormones? First thing, enzymes are biocatalysts. What do you mean by biocatalyst? That is, they act directly on reactions and speed up these reactions. These reactions, once started, means enzymes do not start the reactions, but reactions once get started, they are speeded up by the enzymes. Whereas what do the hormones do? Hormones are bioregulators. Remember, they are not catalysts. They are bioregulators, which speed up or inhibit the reactions. How? Do they speed up the reactions like enzymes or in the different way? Let's see. Inhibit the reactions by, one is altering the permeability of permeability of membranes. Membrane may be impermeable, maybe, and the particular hormone, when acts on the cell, it becomes permeable to certain substrate, right? And the most important, by altering the activity of enzyme. Means it is the enzyme which directly acts on reactions. The hormones, they regulate the activity of enzymes, and hormones itself are controlled by nervous system. You know, the hormones will be secreted only when central nervous system acts on the particular endocrine gland. So overall, what you say? That in one word, directly or indirectly, all the reactions, they are controlled by the supreme center, that is our central nervous system. Maybe directly by central nervous system or through hormones. Is it clear? Let me again say that reactions in a cell, all the reactions do not occur always. Some reactions may occur at one time, another at another time. Right? These reactions are speed up by the enzymes, or these reactions stop when the enzyme activity gets inhibited. The enzyme activity, it is controlled by the hormones. Hormones are secreted by endocrine glands, and the activity of endocrine glands is controlled by central nervous system. Therefore, directly or indirectly, all the activities are controlled by central nervous system. Is it okay? Then, second thing, enzymes are, or you can say, all enzymes are proteins. There are exceptions always, one or two exceptions are there, but in general, all enzymes are proteins. Whereas here, hormones, they can be derivatives of amino acids, or they can be proteins, or they can be derived from fats or lipids. What is AA here? AA is amino acid. So, all enzymes are proteins, but hormones, they can be derivatives of amino acids, they can be proteins, or they can be lipids also. Then, third point. Enzymes are never used up in the reactions. They catalyze the reaction, recovered as such after the reaction, can be used again. Right? Therefore, required in small amount, because they can be reused. That's why they are required in small amount. Whereas hormones, used up in the reaction, but even then required in traces. Not much hormones are required. Very small concentration of hormones is required. But why? They are reused, they cannot be reused. Then why they are required in small amount? Because they amplify the reactions many times. For example, let's say one molecule of a hormone, it activates 100 enzyme 1, 100 enzyme 1 activates 10,000 enzyme 2, and let's make shortcut. This enzyme 2 catalyze, one enzyme 2 catalyze one reaction. So 10,000 enzyme 2 catalyze 10,000 reactions. So one molecule of hormone, they catalyze how many reactions? 10,000 reactions, right? So you can see how they amplify the reactions, right? So now the enzymes, they work or function in the cells where they are secreted, or they work at nearby places. For example, enzymes for glycolysis. You must have studied glycolysis in class 10. Respiration, each cell respire. Enzymes for glycolysis are formed and function in the cell itself, any cell. Where the enzymes are secreted, there they function. Whereas enzyme amylase, salivary amylase, is secreted by cells of salivary glands. They are secreted by cells of salivary glands, but they do not act in these cells only, but move in the buccal cavity where they act on food. Right? Or let's think one more thing. It is, let us say, this is one cell of salivary gland. It forms glycolytic enzymes. It forms salivary amylase. You understand? I am writing in abbreviation because the cell size is small. This glycolytic enzyme, it is used by this cell only, whereas salivary amylase through ducts, there are very small ducts from each cell, and all these ducts, they open in the large duct, and this duct, this opens in the buccal cavity where the salivary amylase is secreted, right? So enzymes may work in the same cell or they work at the other sites, but they reaches to the other sites through small ducts, and the other sites are adjacent to the exocrine glands, right? Whereas hormones, site of secretion and site of action of hormones is always different. The cells which secrete hormone do not consume its own hormones. The hormones they diffuses in the blood and reaches to the other cells of the body. Is it right? So these are the main differences between enzymes and the hormones. Okay, students? So, how can you now define endocrine glands? Endocrine glands are ductless glands which secrete mainly hormones. And hormones are non-nutrient chemicals required in small amount and regulate various activities of the body. Is it okay, students? So, okay, go through these points quickly. Jaldi se. Quickly revise and see if there is any problem. So let's see further. Endocrine system is simpler and secretes few hormones. In invertebrates such as insects, there are few glands, there are few hormones. It is much complex but highly coordinated. चाहे complex है but it is highly coordinated in vertebrates like in humans. Study of endocrine system. Study of endocrine system, it is called as endocrinology. Father of endocrinology, Edison, who first studied Addison's disease. Due to malfunctioning of adrenal glands. First hormone discovered secreted by gastrointestinal tract, secreted, and it was discovered by Bayliss and Starling. These are the name of the scientists. Who coined the term hormone. They coined the term, they first discovered and they named it as hormone. So, first hormone discovered by Bayliss and Starling. The term hormone also coined by Bayliss and Starling. So, which are the pure endocrine glands in humans? Endocrine glands in humans. If I draw the rough diagram of human body, you will see this is the head region. This is the brain. In the brain, this is hypothalamus. It is joined to, you can see this one. I am drawing it in a magnified way, but it is pituitary gland is the smallest gland. This is pituitary gland, and this is a small stalk called as infundibulum. This is infundibulum, which joins hypothalamus with the pituitary gland. Here, there is another gland. This is pineal gland in the brain. In the neck region, there is present the largest gland. This is thyroid gland. The largest endocrine gland in our body is thyroid gland. On one of the sides of thyroid gland, not stick to thyroid glands, but on the surface of the, near the thyroid gland, on one side there are 4, no, 2 above, 2 below, parathyroid glands. Then here it is trachea, here it is chest cavity, these are the lungs. Here there is present, this is thymus gland. So thymus gland is present in the chest cavity. These are the kidneys, and above the kidneys are present tricone shaped. Tricone means which has 3 corners. These are pair of adrenal glands. These are the various endocrine glands in our body. Hypothalamus, its origin. What is the origin? You know, human embryo, it is formed of 3 germ layers. From a single zygote, when many cells are formed, these cells then are arranged in 3 layers, ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. These 3 layers are called as germ layers, and various organs, they develop from these 3 layers, and it is fixed that this layer will form these organs, this layer will form these organs. So hypothalamus, it arises from ectoderm. Pituitary gland develops from ecto and endoderm. Pineal gland, again ectoderm. Thyroid gland, endoderm. Parathyroid, endoderm. Thymus, endoderm. And adrenal glands, they also have dual origin, mesoderm and ectoderm. So various endocrine glands, they arise from different germ layers. Okay students, so today we discussed something about endocrine glands, differences between exocrine glands and endocrine glands, why we require endocrine glands in addition to the nervous system, right? We also discussed the differences between enzymes and hormones, right? I had told you the origin of various endocrine glands in humans. Okay students, so today this lecture we ends up to the name of the endocrine glands. We will discuss the functions of these glands later on in the next chapter. Okay students, thank you very much.